and the world will end after I make this video. What really matters today? Melted Tartarian bricks? I don't think so. Today I'm more interested in our realm. What is this realm? If we are not flying through space, then what is this place? And why don't more people question this idea? Welcome. So today I'm going to attempt something rather difficult. We're going to take a great and deep look at our realm. Now, I've recently come across a channel, an absolutely fascinating channel. I'm not even sure how I found it. Perhaps somebody recommended it to me. And slowly, over the course of about 8 or so videos, he has revealed what appears to be the position of our location within this realm. And while the masses are debating the shape of the earth, be it a plane or a ball, this theory that this channel proposes, in my opinion, is beyond both of these theories, and perhaps in a strange way encompassing both at the same time. Again, several videos and so much to touch on. At best, I hope to scratch the surface, and I encourage you to go over and check out his channel. You will most certainly want to watch his videos, and I can only expect the same backlash that he has received when trying to explain this theory. And as always, I'll preface this video with the fact that I don't know. These are just ideas. What I'm certain of is what we have been told is a lie, and that puts all other theories on the table. Here I'm opening up with these moon photos I found. Excellent close-ups of the craters of the moon. And what is the moon? What is this luminary above us that always shows the same side? Many theories and many fantasies told to us by NASA. There's enough videos on that. But here this channel begins early on with the Earth and Moon. And here what you can see is the sun shining on the Earth and creating a reflection. And now this could be the dome, or as written here, the plasma belt. Suspend your disbelief. Let this be whatever your constitution allows it to be. And what we can see is the Earth's image bouncing onto this dome, or inside of this bubble. And this channel's theory, which will be backed up by a lot of fascinating evidence, is that what we see as the moon may simply be the reflection of the Earth on this dome or bubble or plasma belt. And one would say, if that were the case, we would see some resemblance. We would see some kind of continent and be able to match it to our current maps. And that would be the logical idea. I'll cut to the chase and say that his theory proposes that the Earth is 1,000 times bigger, if I'm correct. And what we're seeing on this moon reflection is a depiction in the form of a reflection of our actual realm and the true size of it. And where do we fit into this reflection? We, simply being in a small crater in this greater realm. And this channel will take us into the crater, the exact crater, and will show us the true layout of our continents and their orientation within the crater, and perhaps more importantly, the way out. And the way out happens to be towards Antarctica. Not surprising, the longest treaty held by the most nations for any amount of time, still honored to this day, keeping people away from Antarctica. And if we do live in a little crater, or giant crater, one could understand how this realm could be both a plane and something greater, in which we can't even begin to conceive of. If this is true, the reflection on the moon could still only be a sliver of this realm. And I think I'll just open with that idea. And here now he's identified which crater is our crater. And it's this Sulpicius Gallus, and this symbol, this circle with a little pie-shaped part missing. This is actually the way out of our crater. And this is just such a fascinating research, just mind-blowing. If it wasn't for his amazing skills with computer software and the ability to take impressions and lay them on top of other ones, we would not have such a clear picture painted, nor understanding of the true nature of our realm. And again, there's a proper way to make this video, and this won't be it. And I may just bounce around a little bit. But in short, the greater realm, this crater and a few others, tying back to Walt Disney. And in fact, in a moment, I'll show you how Disney World and Disneyland are exact replicas of our realm, and how the controllers know this and have known this ever since World War II, at a minimum, when the Germans began launching their rockets up. And this is pretty heavy, and yet with all the puzzle pieces we have pertaining to our home, this is the greatest one I've ever seen. And again, we can verify this. Now here what he's showing is Antarctica. And when laying Antarctica on top of the right side of this crater, that is where the position of Antarctica is. And in fact, it sits up higher than the rest of our continents. And if you look real carefully to the left, you'll begin to recognize some of our continents. Again, nothing like we've been told. And here's an example of his overlays. I do encourage you to watch his videos. He makes an excellent case of piecing all these scattered and fragmented puzzle pieces together, not only showing us where we exist, but quite possibly the way out. And just unbelievable that Disney, who probably wasn't Disney at all, with a little trimming of the mustache, it may become clear, have flaunted all of this in our face, and perhaps creating a double purpose, both speaking to their people, instructing them, and educating them in a covert way, and on the other end, profiting off of our stupidity, as usual, keeping us in the dark as we enjoy ourselves in this little mock-up of our greater realm. And here we've seen this before. We've seen this in the Mercator maps. We see this symbol depicted all throughout. And eventually this ties into the Wizard of Oz and everything. And this channel researches as he goes along. In the next video, he will quickly correct himself with any errors and new understandings. And again, some of the most fascinating research I've seen in a while. And not discarding The machine and computer-like reality dealing with frequencies and magnetic fields are all playing into this. Just everything being a lot bigger than we ever dreamed. And actually a lot scarier, considering we may share this realm with so many more life forms than we're aware of. Even tying in the fasces here, as we know, clearly a symbol of power from the old world, in which our historians really gave us very little information about. He makes some excellent depictions of the path of the sun according to his model, and how that may work in this crater. And of course the anomalous time zones, which we've all recently discovered. Great anomalies with our time zones, and I believe it was a 5-hour difference from the rising of the sun in Siberia compared to Alaska. Spots we're told are close in proximity, and yet a recognizable anomaly in plain sight. And ultimately this does tie into what are we? And are we just prisoners in a cage? The idea of flying through space at the speed of a Big Bang, wall spinning and wobbling, gives one the impression of being free and insignificant, but yet free. And when we consider the idea of being on a plane, or in this case a crater, we begin to feel trapped, and hence the reason for perpetuating such a lie. Much easier to control a people that feel as if they are free and have no idea they're in a cage. And now this is one of my favorite videos, the second to most recent, where he gives us an overview of the crater. Some of you may recognize this picture. I featured it very briefly with no explanation at the beginning of my last video. And again, the orientation. Here we see our North America and South America, and our access out of here. Many of us have seen in the news in recent years all sorts of famous people going and visiting the south tip of South America. And for what reason? We've only speculated. And now when beginning to look at this research, we start to have a better picture and understanding as to why South America and Antarctica are so significant, and for us, off limits. This is the edge of our prison, and we do see such things. Anyone who has photographed the edge of Antarctica sees a giant ice shelf in which you can't peer over. And here again, a look at the orientation, and here why there would be such a delay with the time zones. Part of the truth is what we've been given. And here we can get another look at our cell. And here zooming out a little, getting a better feel. And again, all of this, I'll remind you, is based on the cartography and topography of the moon. The moon being our map and our ability to peer into this greater realm. And here we can see Walt and Walt's map. And you see right behind Walt's good old head there, we can see South and North America, just like the moon maps show. And he also shows us the way out of here. And the Wizard of Oz and the Yellow Brick Road also being a reference and roadmap. This will also tie into the hundreds of space launches in their apparent strange direction, typically not straight up, but at an angle. Again, the powers that be understanding this. And when we consider the international treaties and laws that keep average people away from this area, this really begins to make a lot more sense and adds credibility to this theory. Let me remind you that I don't know, once again, but I applaud people who research outside of the box. And if people stop doing such things, our future is doomed. And there's no way I could sum up all of these videos, only scratch the surface and perhaps pique your interest to a topic that, if true, is the most mind-blowing revelation in our lifetime. And you know Disney has been on our radar, very similar to the World's Fairs and having a part in them, and Tomorrowland and NASA and all these things fitting into this rabbit hole beautifully. And what I have left out is all the beautiful images of the moon laid on top of these maps. And what are the chances that these things line up? Everything being shown to us in plain sight. And just incredible to be able to now go back and watch these old Disney films and make some sort of sense out of what Walt Disney was really up to. So Disneyland just being a small look at our crater, and what we see at Disney World is the realms beyond our crater, and exactly maps that mirror the lunar maps. And good old Walt here telling us all about their plans. Now we can understand all the NASA launches and what they were really up to. We certainly didn't get any good science out of these silly expeditions. Shooting these rockets with airplanes on the top to finish the voyage. And Walt shows us where their airports are situated and where the cities of the future will be. Perhaps this is where they send celebrities off after their faked deaths. Here we can get a look at our crater as he's circled at the top in comparison with the rest of the realm. We simply stuck in this little bowl while the controllers are out enjoying the greater realm, leaving us to govern our own prison while they settle the rest of the realm. And perhaps our little crater is prone to flooding every so many hundred years, and this may be why we've seen a mass exodus of world leaders, and now we may know where they're going. So here he's circled where Epcot Center is said to be, and here showing the rest of the realm. Like I said, with excellent layovers, certainly something that anyone with a graphic arts background could replicate for themselves. Upon first considering this theory, my thoughts are escape, but I think before a successful escape, it would be wise to research as much as possible to ensure the greatest success. And here is the airport. This is exactly what would be required to send passengers to these further reaches of our realm. Probably a lot more space missions than we've been told about. And here we can see a map of the Wizard of Oz, or the Land of Oz. Very exciting work. It has reinvigorated my interest in looking at close-ups of the moon, and equally my desire to get as close to Antarctica as possible. So that's it. I hope that made some kind of sense. I thank you so much for joining me today. Do have a blessed day, and please like, comment, and subscribe.